The only bride they danced for was Cochin, and win her they did, but not at first swing. Commander Rikloff von Goens, Governor-General of the Dutch East Indies, tried unsuccessfully once in 1662 to take over Kochi from the Portuguese, but the fortification proved formidable, as did the inclement weather. Not one to give up, von Goens was soon back by the end of the year with more men and determination. And by the 7th of January 1663, the famous bride was won. Kochi, admired as the Queen of the Arabian Sea, was of immense strategic importance to the Dutch, as it was for anyone who came before and after. Its location made it not just accessible by ships, but also a gateway to the famed spice plantations tucked away in the rolling Western Ghats.
In the 17th century, India and the Netherlands were already connected by the spice route. In those days, around 1604, Dutch traders set foot on the shores of Gujarat, Kerala, Coromandel Coast and Bengal. Those Dutch traders not only set up trade between India and the Netherlands, but they were also buying Indian textiles and trading these textiles all over Asia, in all corners of Asia. And with the capital amassed, they were buying again spices which they were trading back to Europe. So we can safely say that already in those days, the Netherlands was India's hub in Europe, to Europe.
Idukki, the largest district in Kerala, is a picturesque high-altitude region flanked by lush forests and verdant valleys. More than half of its area is forest and spice plantations. Home to the finest pepper in the world, spice traders vouch for the flavoursome corns and the bursting freshness of the produce here.
Idukki produces around 8,000 tons of black pepper, and cardamom also is produced in Idukki. That is one of the best available in the world.
Most of the pepper, as well as other spices grown in Idukki, find their way to the spice market in Jewtown, Fort Kochi. Fort Kochi has for nearly 7 centuries been the hub of spice trade from India due to its strategic location. But even before Fort Kochi entered the maritime map, there was Muziri near Kodungalur. Excavations have shown that Kodungalur was one of the busiest ports at the epicenter of the spice trade for 3 millennia. A massive flood in the nearby Periyar River during the 14th century blocked the harbour here, which forced the traders to move to Fort Kochi 40 kilometers away. At the Muziris Heritage project, efforts are on to develop the area into a tourist attraction. The state government and UNESCO are together engaged in protecting and promoting this ancient spice route heritage. While Muziri will come alive in carefully excavated memories, the spice market in Fort Kochi is bustling, as it has been for nearly 700 years. Wafting along its narrow, cacophonous streets is the exotic fragrance of pepper and other spices. Exactly what rendered the Peninsula Kochi, or Fort Kochi as it is known today, irresistible to the Dutch. The mid-17th century is regarded as the Dutch Golden Age, an era that produced geniuses like Rembrandt and Vermeer, as well as all the opulence that marked their works. Many of the stately row houses along the canal in Holland were also built during the Golden Age, an age when spice trade was at its peak. These houses still have a basement, loft and attic where goods were stored. The agency responsible for this era of fabulous wealth was the VOC, or the Dutch East India Company. The VOC was formed in 1602 and soon became the world's largest enterprise of the century. Just 2 years after the founding of the VOC, Admiral Stephen von der Hagen signed a treaty with the Zamorans, the rulers of Calicut in North Kerala. He pledged support for their fight against the Portuguese. They also swore eternal friendship as long as the sun and the moon are in the sky.
An important development over the last years is the revival of the spice route. If you look, for example, at the port of Rotterdam having a joint venture with Adani Ports, if you look at the cooperation between the Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi with Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam on the export of pharmaceuticals from India to Europe through Amsterdam. These all point to the fact that the Netherlands is again becoming India's hub in Europe, and that India is for us in the Netherlands the fifth most important source of foreign direct investment. It really looks like Indian businessmen also today see the Netherlands as their hub for their presence in Europe and for their exports to Europe.
We are now planning to have a facility in Amsterdam, in Food Valley, to have a more visibility towards the spice trade, and to have an application lab and a marketing setup in Amsterdam to take more business into Europe through Dutch corridor. That is our aim.
The Dutch interest in the subcontinent was not limited to trade and commerce, but the community was active in the preservation and promotion of local culture and traditions. Like the reconstruction of Hindu temples by Dutchmen in Nagapattinam and Chinsura. As Bouk van der Pol says in his book, The Dutch East India Company in India, Cochin is the true pinnacle of VOC heritage in India. There are numerous buildings, or their remnants, erected by the Dutch here. The names of many streets here are adaptations from the VOC days. There are a total of 3,650 Dutch monuments all over the country, of which only 11 are officially registered as heritage sites. Many of them have changed hands several times over or are in need of thorough restoration jobs.
Today in India we can see buildings, artifacts, there are archives and documents which witness the presence of those Dutch traders on the Indian subcontinent. They contain valuable information on the situation in those days in India. So in India in the 17th century. And these documents, these buildings and these archives constitute the common heritage that India and the Netherlands share. This heritage is important for our generation, but also for future generations. And therefore, with the Indian authorities, we strive to safeguard our common heritage.
The connection between India and the Netherlands goes beyond heritage and history. What began over 4 centuries ago continues to this day as ongoing trade transactions. a robust diaspora and cultural exchange. And it shall go on forever, as the Zamorin assured over 4 centuries ago.
So as the Zamorin of Calicut said 400 years ago, as long as the sun and the moon are in the sky, India and the Netherlands will continue to trade.